Appreciate you reminding during these chaotic times. It can kind of seem a bit stressful. I just kind of want to recap some of the locations that I'm watching as far as those damaging winds. Rawson being one of them that I have been seeing some rotation there between the cities of Mount Corey and Rawson. So please head to your safe spot there. Benton Ridge, we're also going to be watching that location as this continues to move towards the east. Now Pandora, I've also been seeing some stronger velocities also there. So that's of course going to be in eastern Putnam County. You also are a part of that warning, but I'm actually just getting word that we do have that warning that's just going to be moving. Actually, it was just updated that we have here is a better look. So we do have that warning for eastern Putnam County. So you can notice though that much of Hancock County is going to be the severe threat as we have these storms moving on in. We'll take another check of radar and take a look at this Boeing segment. Those damaging winds of 65 miles per hour are going to be possible in this tornado warning. Now, Jeff and Melissa, I was wondering, have you heard any reports coming out of Hancock County as far as any damage? Have we seen any images coming into the newsroom? Have you heard of any reports?
Yeah, well, Diane, our team is making those calls right now to the Findlay area, Hancock County area, working with EMA offices and sheriff's deputies to see if there is damage coming in. But we do know it is still voting day, and that includes Hancock County, where there is that tornado warning right now. Yeah,
the elections are going on as scheduled. However, it looks like a major pause down in Hancock County, according to the Board of Elections down there. That said they started sending everybody to the basements at all polling locations until at least the warning is clear. And they said those polling locations, of course, will remain open until 7:30 tonight. But once again, down in Hancock County, taking this pause because of what Mother Nature's doing to it.
Yeah, of course, no one wants to discourage anyone from voting, but do keep in mind there is an active tornado warning happening right now in that area. So, you know, safety first.
Yeah. Diane, I wanted to point something out that you were bringing up earlier as well. Wanted to see if you could touch on it. And for us sitting here, I know we've heard it a million times, but you talk about a radar indicated tornado warning. So what really triggers this, and what are people seeing down there most likely?
Well, most likely people are seeing those dark, ominous clouds that are overhead. You're also going to be seeing those damaging winds. But we have not had a trained spotter or any of those that are part of local fire departments down there. No one has reported seeing a funnel cloud or even a tornado on the ground. We have not had that visual part. So that's why we are going with radar indicated, because what we are seeing with radar is that potential for a tornado to exist in those areas.
Everything was kind of coming together all in the right package to say conditions could bring us to this point.
Exactly. And when we saw reports around Van Wert of 65 miles per hour wind gusts, that's definitely going to be something that has all of us on edge as far as these strong winds and these storms that are going to continue to move through. We're actually just now seeing them on the doorstep into the city of Findlay. If you are in Arlington along Route 68, 15, you are going to be having those to continue to push into your areas. If you're around Rawson, I'm still watching that area. Now, if you're in Pandora, you are no longer under that tornado warning. So, but if you are around Mount Corey, Rawson, I'm continuing to watch those locations as this storm does push on by. Here's a look at some of our future times along this. Now, this storm is moving at about 45 miles per hour. So we're going to see that around Arcadia at 5:50. So that's 10 minutes from now. So that's going to be right on the edge of this tornado warning. So make sure you head into your safe spot there. And also Cary, we're going to see that around 5:55. Of course, though, that's into Wyandotte County. We do not have a tornado warning there. It is just for Hancock County until the 6 o'clock hour. So we will continue to give the latest information that we have on this warning for the next 20 minutes. And we'll continue to keep an eye on even the severe thunderstorm warnings, because this is going to be a busy night for us. Look at all of these tornado watches that we have. Not only do we have that active warning there in Hancock County, but we also have the tornado watch for Seneca, Crawford County, Wyandotte, and even into Huron counties. And with that watch, that does not mean that the tornado is happening right now. It means that the ingredients are there for us to potentially have that tornado to develop. So that's why we want everybody to make sure you're making plans if you live in those locations where we have that red, because this is going to continue to move through. Now you will find here on Doppler radar that we do have that bowing shape that's moving through Hancock County. And that is signaling some of the strongest winds that we have moving into northwest Ohio. Now, some of the locations that I have been looking at have been towards Rawson. And as you can see, that a lot of that has continued to move now north and east. So around Benton Ridge and even just east along I-75. That's what I'm now watching for some of our best rotation as far as the storm to even come together there. Wind gusts, of course, along the storm have been around 65 miles per hour. And whether or not we have that rotation or those straight line winds, we are going to continue to see those winds are going to be able to pack a punch and move along that line. Now we have, of course, that one warning going on as far as the tornado warning. Meteorologist Matt Willoughby is in studio, keeping an eye on that warning. Matt, what latest information do you have for us?
Yeah, Diane, as far as safety goes, this is right in the middle of I-75. So if you know anybody that's traveling on I-75, give them a call, make sure they're safe, make sure they're in their safe place, even along Highway 68 going up into Findlay and right into I-75 going into Findlay. That's right in the middle of this tornado warning that is. Now, again, here's a look at our watches versus warnings as we look at, like I said, just seeing some of the watches versus warning pretty much programs are, like I said, make sure you're in your safe place. That is as this system comes through, make sure you're in your safe place right now and make sure you have a plan of action as you go into this evening and over the next few minutes, because the storm is moving quickly as we see right now. So make sure you have your safe place, make sure you're in the most interior part of your home. Make sure you're away from any windows that may injure you, and make sure also you have that safe kit for you, whether that's a bottle of water. Of course, always have your shoes on, and make sure you have a safety kit or a first aid kit in order for you to be safe out there. We'll send it back to you, Diane.
Thanks, Matt. That is a good reminder of those things that we should have in those locations for instances like this. Now, we have been tracking this storm to be moving through. We've been watching it for the last 15 minutes, and we will continue to do so. Now, as far as one of our tools, it's a rotation tool. Of course, those turning winds and a tornado warning, that's where we see a lot of our damage. So that rotation you can see has been just north of Mount Corey, even towards Rawson, and we will continue to track this to even come across to I-75 here in the next couple of moments. As we take a look at this radar site, you are going to find that it's right through the heart of Hancock County. So there's plenty of damaging winds as this continues to move on by. Well, I have seen some of our Odot cams. Visibilities are not going to be easy for those driving. Here's a look at some of our cams here on I-75, courtesy of Odot. We are able to make out some of the cars, but of course, heavy downpours are going to be part of this. If you do know someone who's traveling along I-75, please give them a call and give them a heads up to pull off. And also, if they can seek shelter in the lowest levels of the roadways there, because we are going to continue to see a lot of these storms that are going to be moving into Hancock County and also pushing eastward. So if you are going to be towards Van Buren, this storm is though south, but this is when you need to take time to head into your safe locations. Taking a look at the storm and some of the future times that we expect along this front, though that warning is still going to be going until 6 o'clock. We still have 15 more minutes, and this is going to continue to push eastward. So we will have that around Arcadia here in just about 5 minutes or less. We'll have that around Cary at 5:55, and then into Seneca. We're going to see that just after the 6 o'clock hour, and at 6:11 Tiffin. That's when we anticipate this line with the gusty winds, the small hail to be moving in. So use this advance notice, head to your safe spots, seek shelter in the lowest level of your home. Here's another look at that tornado watch that we have in place. So that is going to be for those locations we just listed off that is going to be moving in. Now, of course, we do still have that active tornado warning. That's going to be into Hancock County currently. So as that pushes on through, we will have that until the 6 o'clock hour. Now, a current check of radar here, you are going to find that that strong bowing where we actually are seeing some of those stronger winds. That's going to be pushing just east of I-75 now, and we're going to find actually this pullback right around Findlay. That's when where we are going to see some of our strongest winds to kind of be pulling back. This is the area we're going to be watching right now from this look as far as radar. I'm seeing some of those stronger signals to be around the Findlay area of where we actually have that bend as far as those winds. And of course, we have team coverage meteorologist Ryan Weekman. He is here, and he is actually going to also help us with the coverage here this evening. Good evening, Ryan.
Good evening. Good to see you.
Oh, working on some of those technical difficulties, but.
Diane, check. Hey, I'm here, Diane.
Perfect. Well, we are happy to have you.
Well, we're having team coverage, as you were just saying. You've been watching these storms, I know, since they were in Indiana coming across the border here in Ohio, and you've been highlighting some of those spots for us here. Let's get to the very latest with this tornado warning and some of the spots where we were seeing rotation. Obviously, this is a very prolific lightning-producing storm. The heaviest of the rainfall is over the city of Findlay right now. And what I wanted you to do, go ahead and zoom out, Diane, for me real quick. Just show me the county of Hancock here. We obviously have this tornado warning that's in place for Hancock County now. This extends for the next little bit. What you're seeing on radar here is the rain. So what you're looking at is the heaviest rainfall portion of this. What you're not seeing on radar and what we're analyzing back in the WTOL 11 Weather Center right now, meteorologist Matt Willoughby is here. Obviously, meteorologist Diane Phillips here as well, is when you look at a storm like this, the bow echo is the official term that we try to use. The bowing out of this part of the storm here, that's where we typically see the strongest wind. So places between Arlington and Findlay, this would include 224. So if you're a commuter between Findlay and Marion, or you have family coming up today between Findlay and Columbus along 224, text them, call them, let them know. That's a big route there, I know. Findlay to Arlington, it's an absolute deluge right now of rain coming down. And if we were to see where any strong rotation was to be in this storm, it's basically at the corner of 68 and 15. This would be just south or right near the Findlay Airport, the Hancock County Airport. And it's moving a little bit to the east. So this would be right along State Route 15. This would be down near the reservoir there, just south and east of Findlay. This would be along Eagle Creek as well, and extending 224 to Route 15. Anywhere in that range has the possibility where the National Weather Service is seeing that spin in the atmosphere for the potential for strong or severe winds. Not only that, strong straight line winds, but the swirling in the atmosphere enough that we potentially could get funnel clouds or tornadoes. Of course, that's why the National Weather Service has issued this tornado warning for Hancock County. Now, meteorologist Diane Phillips, I want to send it back to you. I just noticed over my shoulder here, looks like maybe a new severe thunderstorm warning was just issued potentially for, what is that, Seneca, Wyandotte counties?
I am currently checking in with the National Weather Service, and I have not seen that new warning come in actually on that map. We do have actually correction. We did get that in. So looking at that watch and warning, we are going to find that is moving into. It's a little difficult to see here on this map, but of course with our pointer tool, you are going to find that if you are in Upper Sandusky, and that's going to continue into Crawford County and then all the way through Seneca County, you are going to be under that severe thunderstorm warning until 6:45 this evening. So that is not a tornado warning. That is a severe thunderstorm warning until 6:45 p.m. Now that means that you are going to need to seek shelter inside your home, away from doors and windows. And we still have that active tornado warning that's going to be for Hancock County until the 6 o'clock time frame. Now, Ryan, I was also looking and speaking with some of our National Weather Service partners, and we have not seen any confirmed reports as far as any tornadoes in Hancock County. But we do have some pictures along I-75 where we do have visibilities for some of those drivers. Plus, we also have seen a tree down. We do have a photo from a viewer that sent that in.
Let's get it over to Melissa over at the wall right now. Melissa, you got some new damage photos, it looks like?
Yeah, this is really the only damage we've heard of. Our newsroom has been calling into Hancock County and Findlay, various areas around, and we haven't heard of any damage reports, but you do see this picture. This was sent in to us by Kim in Mount Corey. You can see that tree trunk is just snapped. You can see the darker skies around there and what looks like a little bit of rain there. on her lens. Want to take you over to I-75 right now. Odot camera. This is at State Route 12 there in Hancock County. You can see the visibility is very, very low. The road is wet. You can see the headlights are reflecting back on the pavement. So this is one of those times where you'd really want to turn the windshield wipers on full blast, or maybe pull over to the side of the road if you can do that safely. That is just some of the information that's coming into our newsroom right now, Ryan.
All right, Melissa, thank you for that update. I wanted to show the big picture of what's going on because people in Toledo are seeing the skies getting dark as well and wondering, is this storm heading for the Toledo Metro? The answer is no. The course of this over the last hour or two has been straight through Findlay, where the National Weather Service has continued this tornado warning. It does include Findlay proper, and we want to also mention that down in Hancock County, we are on simulcast WFIN as well. So once again, if you're on the roadways or you have family and friends on the roads and they want to know what's going on, let them know that we are simulcast right now, WFIN, our radio partner down there in Hancock County. This storm is racing, has potential for 70-mile-per-hour winds coming out of Hancock County, moving into the Tiffin area, Upper Sandusky. Let's switch our radar sources real quick because meteorologist Diane Phillips, I know you're over on our first system right there. Let's zoom in on this, and that's exactly what I wanted to do, was get a track on this. So this storm is right on the edge. I know if you're sitting in Fostoria, it's super dark right now. 5:54 is the time that this storm is going to be coming in right now. 6:02 in Seneca. So that's right across the border there in Tiffin. Let's see, Tiffin itself, 6:07. So that goes to show you the storm is still in Hancock County technically right now, but it's racing off to the north and east, how quick it's going to be in Tiffin. Bloomville, 6:17. Green Springs, 6:22. And there is a new tornado warning just issued by the National Weather Service that does include parts of Seneca and Sandusky County now. Again, we have had no reports of confirmed tornadoes with this. This is all radar indicated. This goes until 6:30. Technically includes parts of Hancock County, which are already under this. This would include also, it looks like Fostoria, let's say Tiffin, let's see, Bettsville, of course, as well as this storm's coming through. This is a very similar track to the route of 224. Let's switch it back over to the radar there and let's see exactly where this storm is. So it's headed off to the northeast. So it's north of Upper Sandusky. If you're sitting in Fremont right now, you'll need to be watching this storm. Bowling Green, you're a little too far north on this one. You're getting heavy rain and maybe a little bit of wind right now. But the main storm we're watching is this one right here. And you can even see it with the motion of this storm. Notice it bows out, so it has a little right there, a little arc with it. And what that does essentially, because of the weight of the storm, all the rain and the wind and everything with it, it shoves the air in front of it out of the way. Think about yourself moving your hand through a tub of water. It pushes that water out of the way. And what we can commonly get is a little swirl in the atmosphere on the north side of that arc right there. And that's where we really want to watch it. So let's zoom in. Let's stop this radar image. Let's zoom in. I want to get real specific here because we have towns like Arcadia, Fostoria that are right in here. Go ahead and give me the radar image itself if you don't mind here, because the storm, the worst of it is now past Findlay. It's now moving into, again, Arcadia, Fostoria, Tiffin. It'll be there within the next, as you just saw our timer there, about 15 minutes. It'll arrive in for that. Let's take our Max 1 source back there if we can, guys, just so we can see it. Perfect. So right along Route 12, there's 224, obviously a lot of lightning with it. This is that curl in the atmosphere I was just talking about. So if there is any rotation in this storm, it's between Route 224 and Route 12. Meteorologist Diane Phillips with us live right now. I know you've been watching and talking with the National Weather Service. This new warning, I assume it's a radar indicated tornado. Have we had any new reports with this?
We have not had any new reports, and I just did want to follow up with that rotation that you were pointing, looking at some of the products that we had back here. That location just south of Arcadia is where we are seeing some of those winds that are trying to turn. They're kind of coming at each other. So that is that point, of course, if you are around Arcadia or even just south of there, just north of that Route 224.
That makes a lot of sense. Here's what I want to do. Let's zoom out just a hair, Diane, and let's put a storm cone track on just the rotation of this storm. We know we have very strong winds on the south end of the storm. So let's do a storm track on the rotation first, and then let's do a storm track on the straight line winds of this. But obviously this is the portion of the storm that could potentially be producing a tornado as indicated by the National Weather Service. So if you're in Fostoria, going to your lowest location is obviously the smart place to be. This is racing off to the northeast, now at about 50 to 60 miles per hour. It would arrive in Fostoria, the rotation itself, at 6:04. Now, I know many are tempted to go out on the front porch, try to see what you can see with a storm like this. There is a wall of water and rain ahead of the rotation, which is tucked in on the backside of this system. You're not going to see anything, so don't even bother going out on the porch. All you're going to see is wind and rain. And if you happen to be in the part of the storm where it's producing a tornado, you wouldn't realize it until it was right on top of you. This would be a rain-wrapped tornado if it does exist. 224 again. Here's 23. So this would be, let's say, from Pemberville-Bradner area, where it intersects Route 6 there, over in Seneca County and Sandusky County, and then down to the south. So this is 224 and 23, so near New Regal as well. There's right where 224 and 587 intersect. This is, so there's New Regal, so it's just north of there. This is a very open country as well, but I know Arcadia, you're no stranger to strong to severe weather. Back in 2008, late May, we had an evening tornado that went through there all the way up to Fostoria, so we're not strangers to potential for strong to severe weather there.
And but, Ryan, one of the Findlay Airport reported a 52-mile-per-hour wind gust.
That makes sense.
As it moved through. So those are the winds that we're going to be working with. We have also seen wind reports earlier in this system's life out of Van Wert of 65-mile-per-hour winds. So as this continues to push eastward, hopefully we can continue the trend of those winds to die down some. But this storm's still packing a punch for us here this evening.
And when I was looking at radar when it was coming through the Findlay Airport, I think they were just on the north side of where the strongest straight line winds were going to be. So let's do another storm track here. So we were looking at the rotation, our last storm track here that was going to go through Arcadia, while the new National Weather Service issued this tornado warning that includes Tiffin. Let's do this area between Cary and Fostoria here. Let's do a storm track on that. We can see there's lots of lightning to go along with this. The leading edge of this storm now set to hit Tiffin within the next 10 minutes. In fact, at 6:02 Tiffin, that's the leading edge of this. And then within a few moments after that, you're going to get strong gusts of wind that come through. So the National Weather Service over in Cleveland, what they do, obviously, we have storm spotters. They have radar as well, and they use those tools to analyze what's happening in the storms. In this case, they have issued a tornado warning that is radar indicated. That doesn't mean any spotters have seen anything, unless you had something else, Diane.
I have not seen any new reports of any confirmation or any visual, but I'm glad that you brought that up as far as radar indicated. I was just checking with our National Weather Service partners, and they have not released or have not had any reports of any confirmation of a funnel cloud or a tornado. No one has seen that yet. Of course, we are still in that sunlight time frame, so we have no trained spotters who have reported that to the National Weather Service. What we have been relayed the information to us is that 52-mile-per-hour wind gust report that was recorded at Findlay Airport, and yet this line is going to continue to have the threat of those damaging winds. We also can see some small hail, but we have not had any reports of that has been sent in. Of course, if you have any images or videos that you'd like to share with us, you can send those in using the WTOL 11 weather app. That's going to be a big help for us. And we're going to continue, though, to find that tornado warning that's going to be moving into Seneca County as we have this line of bowing, a bow echo, that is. So that's where we have those strongest winds. So those strongest winds, as we dissect this storm, we're going to be seeing those just west of Seneca. And if you are in Cary, you are seeing all that heavy rain as well that's moving through. Quite a bulk of lightning that we have just moving in, just setting up west of Seneca. So that is going to be traveling even towards the direction of Tiffin. So this is going to be those strong, almost straight line winds. These winds not seeing all of that rotation, though you are still into that tornado warning. Now, the part that we are watching for that rotation is still going to be into eastern Hancock County. So it's quite broad here on our radar signature. We're looking for this hook. So you can see that that red color kind of comes around and has a bend or a hook. And that's going to be the location where we do see some of those winds that tried to turn, and that's right along Route 24. So that's going to be south of Arcadia, and we're going to continue to see still those winds that are going to be moving right around Arcadia. So if you are in that location, make sure you seek shelter into the lowest level of your home. and we are also going to find some of those winds to continue to push on with that tornado warning. Now, Ryan, what are you seeing as far as this storm that's going to be moving through? Of course, we've been watching this rotation into Hancock County. What is catching your attention, of course, besides that?
Well, first of all, I want to say for people that are just tuning in to WTOL 11 News at 6 and looking at this radar and saying, what is going on? Let's zoom out and give a big picture of what's going on across, because we do have some rain going on here in the Toledo metro. This stuff is not severe up here. What happened down to the south is they got a little more sunshine. It got warmer. The high temperature in Findlay reached about 76 or 77 degrees. The atmosphere got a little more unstable. And so the northern extent for this potential for strong to severe weather is basically along and south of Route 6. Obviously, we have some warnings that are in place right now that include Hancock County, parts of Wyandotte, Crawford, and Seneca County. And this purple box you see here, that is a tornado warning. That is a radar indicated tornado by the National Weather Service. That's coming out of the office in Cleveland. The heaviest rainfall and wind portion of this storm right now, as Diane was just highlighting, is right there south and east, or south and west of Tiffin, just getting ready to cross the Sandusky River right now. It's right over New Regal right now, but the portion of the wind that has the best rotation, or the strongest rotation, is right over Arcadia. I was just checking this out on radar. So if you're in Arcadia, you're up towards Fostoria. Let's go ahead and get to our safe place right now. We know where that is, in the basement. If you don't have a basement, you go to the lowest level, a room without windows. This is coming right along Route 12. There's an update by the National Weather Service. It trimmed the back edge of this tornado warning, but they've kept it intact for the extreme northeast corner of Hancock County. So Arcadia, it's over top of you right now, the strongest rotation. This is up towards Fostoria. Again, this is radar indicated where we're seeing the strongest rotation. As far as the strongest straight line winds, which potentially could be the most damaging part of this storm, as Diane was highlighting, as this storm came across the Ohio border over towards Van Wert a little over an hour ago, we had winds reported well over 60 miles per hour. We likely had winds that strong just south of Findlay, between there and Arlington, about a half hour ago. And now this storm is approaching you in Tiffin. It's just north of Cary, came through you the last few minutes. It is raining like crazy there right now. And I promise, right over New Regal right now, we are going in and out of satellite if you have satellite TV. So don't forget your WTOL 11 weather app. We have meteorologist Matt Willoughby in studio as well, who is sending out alerts to that, custom to these areas, giving you advanced notice about these storms as they're coming through. So Tiffin, it's basically right on top of you right now. Bloomville, 6:15 is the current time that it's expected to reach you. Green Springs, 6:18. Not far behind would be Clyde at 6:25. These are the strongest rain bands, and then the wind immediately follows that as well. Essentially, this storm is now moving between Findlay and Tiffin along Route 224 with the strongest straight line winds that would be out of the south and west. Up towards Fostoria, the National Weather Service is continuing this tornado warning, which tells us they continue to see the potential for strong rotation.
Yes,
meteorologist Diane Phillips, I was just going to send it over to you. What are you checking out of there? Because I know you're talking directly with the National Weather Service. They're the ones who issue these warnings. So what are they saying?
Yes, so that tornado warning, like you said, that's going to continue into Seneca County, and we're going to have that warning for us that's going to last here for a little bit longer. But also here you can see that we have quite a bit of yellow on this map. That is also that tornado watch to also give you that advance notice. So if you are in Huron County, you are going to be under that tornado watch until 9 o'clock. But also we are going to be finding that tornado warning that is also going to be into play for eastern Seneca County. Now that is going to be going until 6:30. So we still have 25 minutes for that tornado warning to still be active for those locations. So this is the setup that we have. If you are in eastern Seneca County, make sure you are watching the WTOL 11 weather app, because this storm is going to be moving in your direction. Here's a broad look at what we have from this storm that is moving in. You can see those warnings from those stronger winds. And of course, it's kind of got that longer bowing shape to it. So that's going to be the damaging winds. So far, reports, we have not had any confirmation of a tornado or even a funnel cloud. The only reports that we have had is we had a viewer actually share with us that they did see some trees down in their areas there in Hancock County, but also those winds to be around 50 to even 65 miles per hour, so damaging winds.
Real quick, Diane, because you were on air, WTOL 11 News at 5 when this warning was issued. Talk to us about, is this the one wave we're expecting of severe weather to go through? What are we anticipating for the rest of the evening? We're still watching this storm closely. Thankfully, it's becoming a little less organized, it looks like, on radar. But is there more behind this? What's going on?
So looking off towards our west, it's a fantastic part to look at. So for those even in the Toledo area right now, you are seeing some of that heavier rain that's trying to move in, but we do not have any severe thunderstorm warnings there. Now, even further west, you're going to find Defiance. Brian, you do have some thunderstorms that are trying to push in. So those are going to be riding right along that county line there and even cruising towards Napoleon. But for this evening, it doesn't appear to be much is developing behind these two lines. So further west, you're going to find it's pretty quiet from a line that stretches all along I-69. So once we get through this evening around the 8, even 9 o'clock hour, that's when we will see plenty of our counties that are under this tornado warning. You are going to see that one expire here in a few minutes, but the watch will also start to expire and to be canceled as we go through the evening. So once we get through this first round, of course, we have the warnings now. That's the first wave, and then we are still watching these storms. But typically, we also find that when we have these storms that are cruising through, the environment further south at the top of the 5 o'clock hour, I was showing temperatures there in Findlay, Tiffin. We were into the lower 70s, but further north, if you're joining us from Bryan or even Defiance, your temperatures were just not that warm. So that's why right now we aren't actually seeing as much energy to work off of for those storms. Of course, though, always be weather aware. It's now that storm season here in May that we are going to be finding these thunderstorms to pack a little more of a punch. And that's the setup that we have here for today. Again, we do have those tornado warnings. That's going to be into that northeast corner of Hancock County and stretching into the middle portion all the way over towards Tiffin for Seneca County.
So we do still have a tornado warning that is in place. Diane, give us an update there. Thankfully, this is one wave that's going to come on through, but tornado warning still in place for extreme northeast Hancock County and also includes the Tiffin metro area. Lots of lightning there. Thankfully, again, we have seen rotations take a step back over the last few scans, but the heaviest portion of this storm from New Regal, I know we just got blasted there with a strong gust of wind and heavy rain that came through, maybe even some small hail as well. Right over Seneca, here's the Sandusky River, so it's crossing that in Seneca County. Tiffin, it's going to hit the fairgrounds on the west end of town first, right along 224, and quickly move through town, especially southern parts of the city. That's where we're most likely to see strong and gusty winds. Diane, let's put a track on this one. I want you to go right in the heart of this red section here, right along Seneca, the Sandusky River here, and pull this out for the next hour or so. Let's see exactly where this storm is headed, because we know it's cruising at somewhere in the neighborhood of about 60 miles per hour. So it's going to move through Sandusky County and Seneca County, excuse me, within the next 20 minutes, and it's going to be further east than that. So places like Tiffin, Bloomville, up towards Clyde, Green Springs, you'll be the next to see this system come on through. And something else I wanted to highlight, guys, let's go to our second system, our number 2 system real quick, because I put a radar screenshot up here that I wanted to show you. This is the storm in motion moving off to the east. One place that we're watching where we typically see a little bit extra rotation in these storms is along the warm front. Diane was just mentioning it. Places to the south got more sunshine than us, so they're warmer. Not only that, but it's very muggy as well. Do you see these individual little storms right here that are lifting north towards Norwalk? They're not severe in and of themselves, but what they indicate to me is the location of that warm front. So if you draw an arc from Tiffin, it goes through Norwalk, eventually just south of Cleveland. If this storm continues on the track that it's going right now, it could potentially keep spinning well to the east of Tiffin, through Norwalk, and even south of the Cleveland metro. So this is going to be a system we're going to have to watch very closely. National Weather Service has trimmed back that tornado warning. It looks like Hancock County, you are now in the clear from the tornado warning. In fact, the worst of the storm is through you. You are in the clear. Here in the Toledo Metro, we are too far north. We are not anticipating severe weather across the Toledo Metro, but Upper Sandusky, Crawford County, this includes all of Seneca County, and a severe thunderstorm warning as well for the strong gusty winds. Now, have we seen any other reports? I know the National Weather Service talks to emergency management. We have our news team as well on this, calling emergency management and sheriff's office down there. So, Diane, what are you seeing from your perspective?
One of the newest reports that we got in was from Seneca County. So Seneca County having a report coming in of dime-sized hail. Now, we have seen some storms further south that have been producing hail that has been larger, but the damaging winds are not the only threat from this storm. It's going to be the hail that we continue to watch with this storm as well. Now, we have seen, of course, also that heavy lightning along this storm front, along with the heavy downpours. So those are going to be the largest threats. But another report that I have not seen is a funnel cloud or a tornado report. We have not had those sent into the National Weather Service, and we have the only reports that I have seen actually come out of Hancock County are some downed trees and power lines. So that's a reminder for those who are going to be driving throughout Hancock County this evening. Please be mindful of traveling here late this evening, because if those trees and those downed power lines, they can create, of course, dangerous situations for those not only driving, but those also trying to do some cleanup here before sunset tonight in the 8 o'clock hour. So far, again, we have not had a confirmation on any tornadoes being reported. We have not had any confirmation on funnel clouds being reported. But some of the winds that we have had roll through, we have seen some tree damage, and we also have seen some small hail to be reported as well within the system. As far as the rotation within it, we are going to look at one of our products here, and where we have kind of that brighter blue, you can see that that's just going to be stretched between Seneca west of the Sandusky River, just south of Tiffin. That's where we are seeing our rotation product give us reports that some of those winds can be turning a little bit throughout our atmosphere. So if you're in locations like New Regal, Seneca, Tiffin, if you're along Route 53, if you're along Route 224, make sure you head to your safe spot. That's going to be the lowest level in your home, away from those doors and windows, and stay there, because we are going to continue to see this warning, watch and warning last even into 6:45 for that tornado warning. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on this line of storms. You can see that that is continuing to move right into Seneca County. Now, we were watching part of this area as far as the rotation, and I'm going to point out here that that area that we were watching, it looks to still be in place here. However, it's now just a little more broad. It doesn't have that as wide of a hook look to it. So we are going to see that this storm appears to be weakening as far as those winds that are trying to come together, that are trying to rotate. But we still do have straight line winds within this, meaning the winds, though they're not rotating, they're still going to be cruising at potentially 65 towards 75 miles per hour. And that's going to be all the way where we kind of see those those purple colors. And that line's going to continue to push through even towards Bloomville. If you're around Republic, you are going to be having those damaging winds that are going to be knocking on your door and moving in. So that's why we still have that severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Seneca County. But again, that tornado warning, that's going to include locations like Tiffin and then cut off just west of Bloomville. So this is not only a tornado situation that we're watching, but we are also watching for those straight line winds that are going to be moving through. Again, that location for those winds going to be moving towards even locations like Lycans, Bloomville, Republic, and yet that's also then going to have that heavy rain that's going to be moving in behind it. So we will have not only the heaviest rain that we're watching for as well, but don't forget some pea-sized hail going to be possible within the system. Now, also, we are watching some storms that are starting to develop further west towards Bryan, Defiance, into Williams and Defiance counties, and that we are not seeing any severe warnings on those storms. We just don't have the energy and the temperatures from earlier today to really support it. The best energy that we're working with is actually where we are seeing our strongest storms. So that's going to be towards Wyandotte, Crawford, and Seneca counties right now.
All right, and meteorologist Diane Phillips doing a great job tracking those storms coming through. We do continue to have that tornado warning in place for parts of Seneca County. If you're joining us here in Toledo, as you just heard, the threat for severe weather not across the Toledo Metro, but is our policy here at WTOL 11. If you're joining us, if there is a tornado warning anywhere in our viewing area, we will stay on and cover that storm until either the storm has moved out of the area or the tornado warning has expired. Now, I put a track on this, and something we continue to see is reports of damaging wind as this storm pushes on through. I want to give you the latest timing of this, and then we've got brand new video to show you from this storm back across Hancock County. Bloomville, this storm is there in 4 minutes, the strongest part of this storm. Attica, 6:28, less than 15 minutes away. Willard, 6:40. Norwalk, 6:49 is the time, not for the leading edge of this, but for the strongest winds inside of this storm to reach you. And that's what we've continued to see. And not only that, but some small hail as well. Let's check out this video. We just got into the WTOL 11 newsroom. This is the storm coming through Findlay, where we had reports of 52 knots at the airport. Of course, that translates to a wind gust over 60 miles per hour on the south side of Findlay. Right now, we are seeing certain indications of winds that are just as strong across the south side of Tiffin. So places east of New Regal, Seneca, places along the Sandusky River, Bloomville, Republic. You're going to be next in line for this. Again, this is a viewer sent in video from the storm passing through Findlay a little while ago. We had reports of up to dime-size hail. You can see the rain coming down in curtains here. Thankfully, not enough to be producing widespread damage, at least not visible on that video right there. But I always encourage you to send in that video as well. The south side of this storm continues to be the strong side of it here. So again, basically Tiffin and southward, we're seeing indications of wind gusts anywhere from 50 to 65 miles per hour. And this storm continues to truck off to the east at somewhere between 45 and 55 miles per hour. So Bloomville, it's about knocking on your door right now. Attica, it's only a few minutes away, and this storm is working directly to the east. Once this storm is cleared off to the east, our severe threat will be over with for tonight. Our tornado warning that is in place for Seneca County continues until 6:30. So we've got about 14 minutes on that. Current indications have shown, thankfully, that the rotation has decreased somewhat over the last half an hour. We have had no reports of tornadoes or funnel clouds. This is a radar indicated tornado warning from the National Weather Service. I can tell from looking over at our other computer system there that we can see some of that rotation as well continuing. Meteorologist Diane Phillips joining us live in studio. Where's that location that you've got on the map there?
So I've been seeing some rotation that's just between Seneca and Tiffin. So we have that is just around the Tiffin area. So if you are saying, hey, that's where I'm at, make sure you head to the lowest level of your home, because that's where we do have some of those winds. And you can see that bright blue there right along Route 100, just south and kind of smash in between Route 24 and 18 there, that we do see some of that rotation there. So that's where we have had some of our strongest of winds that are moving through and what we're watching. But it's not only the damaging winds that are going to be a concern for us. We also have seen hail that's also going to be around the Tiffin area and even stretching along routes 231, even around Route 100, stretching all the way and getting very close to lichens, because we are going to see some dime-sized hail to be possible within this storm. So this is what we're watching, is not only for those damaging winds, but also the hail and the rotation itself. Now, the reason that we do have that tornado warning, again, it's not confirmed, but we are going to be looking at that new report that's going to be moving in as far as those storms that we have. So here's a current look at what we do have currently on our map as far as those watches and warnings. And there it is, that newest warning that we are going to have. Ryan, that was a tornado warning, correct, from the National Weather Service. It's going to be parts of southeast Sandusky County and even moving into Huron counties as well. So if you are in that southeast corner of Sandusky County, If you are in Erie and Huron counties in the western portion, or even into eastern Seneca County, you are now seeing that tornado warning, and that is going to go until 7 o'clock. So if you are in Erie and Huron counties, and of course, if you are in that pink black, head to the lowest level of your home, because this is going to be moving through. The storm that we are watching, you can see just now, is east of Tiffin, and that's going to continue moving at 50 miles per hour. Was that, Ryan? Did we get a new track?
That sounds about right. 50 miles an hour. So this is the National Weather Service issuing this tornado warning simply because of a past history of strong rotation and the fact that this storm continues to ride along that warm front. We've got a couple of new pictures in here to the WTOL 11 Weather Center. Let's go ahead and share some of these with you. I have not seen them, but I've heard that we've got some hail pictures in here. Looks like, boy, it certainly looks like a low-hanging cloud right there. So this is, guys in the back, if you can tell me where this was, if we know where this picture was.
Ryan, I did see that photo. That's coming in from Nancy in Findlay.
So this was Findlay. Okay, so this was in Findlay. Sure looks like a lowering potential wall cloud or funnel cloud right there. And that would match up with where we were seeing potential areas of rotation a little while ago, correct, Diane? Yeah.
Correct, yes, that would be in line to where we saw that rotation. So that is now, though, continuing to move out of Hancock County.
Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if that is a funnel cloud right there, which it certainly looks like, if that maybe had made at times maybe touch down there. This is in Hancock County near Findlay. This was earlier. The storm is now well past Findlay. We've got more reports. We've seen this as well, strong straight line winds. This is Dawn in Findlay that reported this. Of course, this was an area, especially on the south side of Findlay, that was hit oh so bad back in 2012, that derecho that came through. We saw a lot of this, downed trees that we have here as well. Any more pictures that we have, just keep on going through them, guys. This is more tree damage. I expect we're going to see a lot of this sort of damage. This is a picture from James and Rawson. So this is across the other side of Hancock County. This would be the leading edge of the rain. So what you're looking at here, you might look at this and say, boy, that looks like a funnel cloud right there. This is actually a shelf cloud that's coming through. This rain-cooled air right here is more dense than the warm air, so it pushes out. This would be an indication of potential straight line winds. But this is why I was saying earlier as well, this is a storm. If there's rotation, it's tucked in on the backside and inside of that rain. You're not going to see a tornado coming your way. It's just too hard. This is another indication. This is a shelf cloud right here. This is rain coming down. That's wind getting pushed out. Sometimes you see little appendages coming down right here. We call that scud or scary looking cloud sometimes. It's not rotating. It can be a little turbulent up in the air, but this is an indication of strong straight line winds, which when it's all said and done, we're going to see more reports of straight line wind than tornado damage. Although that picture down south of Findlay, I assume was south of Findlay, was a strong indication potentially of a funnel cloud earlier across Hancock County. Let's get to that latest information once again. The National Weather Service has had tornado warnings in place for this storm since it was back in Putnam County, came all the way across Hancock County, including the Findlay area, and especially on the south side of town there between Findlay and Arlington. The storm has spun itself up just south of Arcadia and Fostoria. It's currently over Tiffin and right now racing off to the northeast. A new severe thunderstorm warning is in place. This includes Sandusky, Norwalk, and points off to the south. Let's send it over to our Max 1 system, guys, if we can here. I think Diane has zoomed in to show us this storm, some timing of this one. 6:31 in Bellevue is the time for this. So the skies are getting dark. You can hear the rumbling. 224, that seems to be the path this storm really wants to take. It took it from Arcadia over to Tiffin, and now it's taking it from Tiffin all the way over towards Willard, and that's where we've got strong straight line winds. Look at the Boeing signature on radar. That is a clear-cut indication of strong straight line winds, and this storm has a history of producing winds over 60 miles per hour. Willard, it'll arrive there along 224 at about 6:36, so about 12 minutes away. New Haven at 6:41 and Norwalk at 6:44. Again, this is a storm that has a history of producing widespread wind damage in Putnam, Hancock, and now Seneca counties, and also at times showing indications on radar of some rotation. Meteorologist Diane Phillips, meteorologist Matt Willoughby joining us live. If you have that, reach into my pocket here. WTOL 11 weather app. I just got a notification about 5 seconds ago, so he's keeping you updated over on the digital side. So if you're going to your safe place in your basement, interior portion of your first floor of your room, you're guaranteed to get up-to-date information with him. He's back in the WTOL 11 Weather Center. And as I mentioned, meteorologist Diane Phillips joining me live in studio as well. And Diane, looks like you're maybe indicating a spot where there's rotation. Is it still in this kind of same comma head area here?
Correct, yes. This comma head is what we've been watching. So this area is where we have seen some of our winds that can perform some of that rotation that we need kind of on that northern line. So that's going to be north of Republic, just south of Green Springs. And that's where I'm seeing some of those winds. So I'm going to actually put a cone on this storm because it's going to be right around this location and continue to move off towards our northeast. And that cone, it looks like it's not being favorable with those times that we do anticipate. But again, this line, that's moving at 50 miles per hour. And that's where we have those winds that are coming. That's why we actually have that tornado warning that's been sparked for us, because we're going to continue that warning with those winds that we have had. Again, this is a radar indicated tornado warning that's going to be including most of Seneca County and now cruising into Erie, Huron, and Sandusky counties. That was in the latest edition of this warning that was extended on. So that's going to be going until 7 o'clock. Again, that's going to include locations like Bellevue, Clyde, Seneca, Tiffin. We have roughly 36,000 viewers that are going to be needing this information. So if you're joining us from the Toledo area and saying, hey, there's just not a lot going on here, I of course want to see my election coverage, we'll of course continue to have that, but we want to stay on air for those who are underneath that tornado warning. As far as the Toledo area, though, we are still seeing some of those heavier downpours on the east side of town. So that's going to be moving into eastern Lucas County and just now going to be east of Perrysburg. I'm also watching though some storms that are going to be into Williams and Defiance counties. We're seeing those cruising right along the Maumee River. So those are going to be moving into Napoleon. These, however, are not severe. So we just have these storms that are developing in and behind it, can still work with some of the mechanics. But the further north, if you are in the Toledo area, if you're in Williams County, or even if you're in southeast Michigan, you are going to say, hey, we don't have those strong storms. But we also in those spots did not have the heat either today, where we had the strongest storms. We had 70s this afternoon, so that kind of fueled these storms. As I zoom out, you're going to find, though, that into Indiana, not a lot here on radar. There's just not a lot going on. So once we get through all of this activity that we have now here in Northwest Ohio, we will soon be in the clear, but we still are going to be looking at the 7 o'clock hour and advancing those warnings, that tornado warning that is until 7 o'clock. So we will continue that coverage as that warning will be going on for the next 30 minutes. And also as this line continues to move closer into Erie and Huron counties. What we are watching still is that bowing shape along this line. You can see that just now west of Willard, that is going to be moving in and along that county line. You can see just that leading edge that's just north of Route 224. Like Ryan said, the storm's kind of just been driving right along Route 224, and that's still the line that it's going to be taking as it advances eastward around 50 miles per hour.
Real quick, just because you have a great radar image up right now, I just want to look at this because I'm looking at this in real time. Don't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to look at this real quick. So when we're looking at the rotation of this storm, see these little cells right here by Norwalk and over towards Wakeman right here? That's the warm front right here. And the storm, if you draw an imaginary line right into the storm, right there is where we would have the greatest potential of rotation or a storm right there. So the National Weather Service, there it is, updating that tornado warning that does include Bellevue. That's where one of the spots I would probably be highlighting right now for the strongest potential of rotation coming in within the next few minutes. Looking at radar, this is just to the east of Green Springs. It's along the Sandusky-Seneca County line between Green Springs, Bellevue, and now north and east of Republic. Republic, you are in the clear. Tiffin, you are in the clear from the worst of this storm. Of course, there will still be lightning and the potential for strong rain, but as far as the tornado aspect of this storm, you are now in the clear. Bellevue is the spot that I'd really be paying attention to over the next couple of minutes as this storm does continue to come through. Let's switch over to our second system. Diane, if you want to bring up our radar over there as well, I'll do a little bit of a tour here and show you what's happening. Because again, if you're up across the Toledo Metro right now, you're probably thinking to yourself, why are we doing all this coverage? What is going on? It's just raining across the Toledo Metro. Well, you're exactly right. But to the south, it got warmer, it got muggier. Remember what we talked about this morning? Those places we're going to have the higher potential for strong or even a severe storm today. And that's the way that things have kind of shaked out. A tornado warning continues for Seneca County, southern parts of Sandusky County. This does not include the Fremont area, but it does include Huron and Erie County, the western parts of those counties. It does not include Norwalk yet, but if the storm continues the way it's going, I would not be surprised to see this warning extended further downstream as it continues to move off to the north and east. This thing is racing. Zooming in here, Republic, east of town, crossing Route 4, 269 here. Those are very strong straight line winds that are coming through, potentially as high as 50 to 70 miles per hour. Attica just got blasted by that storm as well. Bloomville, you are now in the clear for the strongest winds. Those have now come on through. I don't show this a whole lot on the air because it looks crazy color-wise. I gotcha. But Bloomville, Republic, right along 224. That's where the strongest winds are. And remember, I just called you out a few moments ago in Bellevue. If you're sitting there saying, yeah, but the winds aren't that strong right now, you're exactly right. In fact, the strongest winds, straight line, will probably stay south of Bloomville. They'll stay south of Green Springs. But it's the rotation. These winds in the green are moving away. These winds in the purple are going this way. And right where those two meet, look at that right in there. Let's zoom in real quick, Diane, if you can help me out real quick. Just to the east of Republic, look at this area right here where those two colors are meeting. This is right along, coming into Route 4 right here. I believe this was 269. That was right here as well. If we can get it even closer, we can see exactly what some of these streets are named right here. So this is County Road 24, County Road 29. This is one of the stronger areas of tight rotation that we've seen coming in the last few minutes. It looks like this is County Township Road 126. So the north side of that. Let's do a track on this specific area here. Let's zoom way out. We can do it going to the north and east. It's going to cross Route 4, 269. Just to the south of Bellevue. That's where we've got this rotation showing up over the next few minutes. It's probably not going to show many towns here, but 269, here's Route 4, Route 18, it'll be crossing there. So there's Norwalk. Remember that warm front we were talking about? If this thing continues off to the north and east at its pace, Milan, Ohio, Norwalk, just on the south side of Bellevue. If you've got family and friends there, give them a call, give them a text. Look at that rotation right in there, just north of the intersection of Route 4 and 162. This is probably one of the stronger radar indicated signatures that we've seen in the last half hour or so for potential rotation with this system. So we're going to watch that, of course, very, very closely. Look at how this thing has evolved over the last hour or so. Don't be surprised here. We might get another tornado warning that does include parts of, let's say, Erie and Huron counties would extend through Norwalk. I would be very surprised if the National Weather Service doesn't issue that in the next few minutes. This is a storm that came out of Findlay and produced some widespread wind damage there across the county, especially through Findlay. The radar station, or excuse me, the airport there produced a wind gust of 60 miles per hour as it came on through. So, Diane, I got to tell you, that radar image I was just looking at, that's much more interesting than we had even just 10 or 15 minutes ago with this system. We're going to have to watch that rotation close.
Yes, this has advanced very quickly, and not only are we watching for that tornado rotation, but as the storm continues to push through, because we've been tracking this since the 5 o'clock hour, and some of the reports that we have seen, and we of course appreciate viewer photos and videos that are sent in, and don't forget that you can still continue to send them in once you are safe from that storm passing to the WTOL 11 News app. But some of the storm reports that we have seen in around Bloomville, we were watching that location for some of those stronger winds, and we have seen a report of 1.5-inch hail that was reported again in Bloomville in Seneca County. Now, hail is still going to be a factor with these storms, not only those damaging winds and the tornado threat itself. Where I have that blue, you can see though where we do have just into the southern half of that tornado warning. That is going to be our hail that we continue to watch within this storm. And looking at some of the hail sizes that we have seen, of course, in that tornado warning, some of the hail sizes, however, have been over an inch so far. We have seen some, though, that have been around 2 inches further south. But also just an update coming in on that tornado warning. We have had that chopped off a little bit for those in Seneca County. So if you are in Tiffin, you are no longer in that. But of course, Green Springs, Republic, Bellevue, Clyde, you are still going to be in the warning if you are along Route 18, even stretching up towards the southeast corner of Sandusky County, and even where we have Erie and Huron counties connecting. We also have that tornado warning as well, and that is going to last until 7 o'clock this evening. So we still have a half hour that we do anticipate watching this storm that is moving towards the east at 50 miles per hour. Here's the storm that we're watching, and I would not be surprised, though, Ryan, even as that warning is going to go till 7 o'clock, I anticipate that is going to be extended throughout Erie and Huron counties.
National Weather Service to that exact same point, Diane. So this extends till 7 o'clock. They said this storm has now outrun the best instability, the best parameters in the atmosphere to keep a potential tornadic storm going. However, they highlighted the thing that Diane was mentioning just a few minutes ago as well. We've continued to reiterate. Notice this broken line of non-severe thunderstorms, basically along and just south of the turnpike. This indicates where the warm front is. They've seen the exact same thing and are mentioning it's enhancing the spin on the north side of this storm. And so as this storm continues to move to the east, don't be surprised if they have to go ahead and issue additional tornado warnings, even though it's in a non-traditional tornado environment. It's not hot and juicy over here as far as the atmosphere goes like it was back towards Findlay. So Norwalk heading over towards Oberlin. I know that's out of our area, but that's the general path of this one. National Weather Service there has extended and continued this tornado warning. We're going to see if they extend it further to the east to include places like Perkins Township, Norwalk, and Lakeshore communities just to the west of Cleveland. Now, we've been getting some viewer photos in of this storm as it was passing through the area earlier. Let's look at some of these. This was in the Signet area of a tree that we believe was potentially struck by lightning many times, even though we have wind reports of 50, 60, sometimes close to 70 miles an hour with these storms. Lightning can be one of the most dangerous aspects. This storm, or this image, certainly shows us that. Let's see what we've got coming up next here. We've got a lot of reports. Look at this tree here down in Findlay that has fallen on top of a house. We've had other reports of that as well. The rain that came through this morning weakened the roots. The wind of up to 60 miles per hour that was reported at the airport did the rest and pushed this tree, a very large tree. Wow, like that looks like 30. Okay, so this is Western and West Sandusky. I believe that's over on the southeast side of town. Look at how it has pushed that tree right on top of that house. And look at this image. Now, we've been covering this because of tornado warnings ever since the storm came into Putnam County over an hour and a half ago. This is a picture of a storm coming straight towards you in the middle of a cornfield with strong straight line winds, and it can produce the damage like what you just saw right there. Let's head over to our Max 2 system real quick and look at this storm system so we can continue to see. They have not issued the additional tornado warning, but we are continuing to watch rotation inside of this just to the south of Bellevue. The purple box that you see on the map here is a tornado warning that continues until 7 o'clock this evening. There is not a severe weather threat for the Toledo Metro, but we will stay on air as long as there is a tornado warning in our viewing areas. Our commitment here on WTOL 11 and Fox 36 that we will always be here for you if a tornado warning is issued. This one might not be over your neighborhood. Next time it might be, and we will continue to be there throughout the severe weather season. So a tornado warning for Bellevue just to the west of Norwalk. Fremont, you are now in the clear from the worst of this weather. Tiffin, you are in the clear from the worst of this weather. This is a bow echo from Willard to Bellevue, extending towards Norwalk, and on the north side of this here, heading just to the south of Sandusky, now basically right over Bellevue, is where we have some of the strongest winds in that. We use all sorts of tools here to analyze these storms as they come past. Meteorologist Diane Phillips has been joining me live all evening long with this storm. Diane, you've got one of those specialized tools that you're showing behind you there right now.
Yes, this map looks a little bit busy and colorful, but what I'm looking at is velocity, and velocity measures the wind within our storm. So we're looking at our winds and if they're coming towards the radar, maybe they're going. If they're green, like we see plenty on this map, then they're coming towards the radar. If they're red, then they're coming back. So that means that you have your winds that are colliding and coming together. And that's just what we see around Bellevue. We have this little pocket here that's just right along Route 269 and even right along those county lines as you head into Huron County. I'm also watching another pocket just west of Bellevue. You can see some of those winds there trying to get a little bit of spin as they travel in those varying directions. And also then east of Clyde, we have this kind of wide and broad rotation that we are seeing, but still those winds nonetheless going in a direction that they shouldn't be traveling. And this actually is right along that warm front that Ryan was pointing out, and you can actually see it here on our velocities as far as those winds. So that warm front, like Ryan has said, it really feeds in and allows us to the storm riding right along that, and it creates that spin in the atmosphere and that rotation. So as that feeds into our storms, you can see Bellevue, you are right in line with where that front is and where we can see those winds that are starting to toss and turn. So that's why we're not surprised to see some of that rotation there, again, right along 269 and west of Bellevue as well. So as we watch this line, though, the rotation still within the storm going to be fairly broad. We could also see some damaging winds within this storm. This is still east of Route 4 and just south of 20 as well. So if you are in Bellevue, make sure you are into the lowest location of your home. Again, you can see that right there traveling along 269 and also right along 20. You can see that second boundary or that area that we are watching as far as those winds that are going in the directions that they shouldn't be going. And also radar can kind of give us a good look. We have to look for a hook look in those spots. So Bellevue, you can kind of see here that we don't have that tight, but what I am picking up is still a little bit of that jolting coming out here. That's right where we were seeing that rotation. And as we get new information, it's still hanging a little bit along that line, but that's where we're going to be seeing that boundary setting up with that warm front and allowing those winds to turn as they develop and go and are thrown up into the atmosphere into those multiple levels. So we are going to continue to see that hook here on our radar as this is going to be moving into that far northwest corner of Huron County.
Great analysis there, Diane, and I noticed some of the spots that you were highlighting. I would say right between Bellevue and Monroeville there, right as you were talking. The storm's moving so fast, it's basically right between those two right now, and it is racing off to the north and east. It's been amazing when you came on the air, about an hour and a half ago, these storms were just coming into Putnam County. Now here they are racing over towards Cleveland. So they're moving at a very quick clip. This portion between Fremont and Upper Sandusky, heading between Sandusky and Mansfield, that's the part of the storm that is severe. You're going to see, if you open up radar in the Toledo Metro, another area of heavy rain moving between Wauseon and Defiance up the Maumee River. There's nothing to indicate that's severe or is likely to become severe. So that's some good news right there. But the yellow box is a severe thunderstorm warning. This extends from basically Upper Sandusky to Sandusky, Norwalk. The purple box right in here, as Diane was just highlighting a moment ago, that would be the tornado warning. And these are evaluated constantly by the National Weather Service, and we use the most powerful radars here in the WTOL 11 Weather Center that's used over the skies here in Northwest Ohio to analyze these storms. The good news is the rotation has steadily been decreasing over the last hour or so. We've seen it at times ramp up a little bit. We've had no reports of tornadoes. We've had a few funnel cloud reports and pictures. The most dangerous aspect of this storm has continued to be strong straight line winds, as it often is in Northwest Ohio. We'll watch and see what the National Weather Service decides to do with this storm. But I've got to say, Diane, it looks like it's very quickly outrunning that tornado warning that the National Weather Service issued. I'm going to be very curious to see what they do here, if they decide to let this expire or if they continue to do it as it gets closer towards Cleveland, of course, closer towards their radar, they are getting some better views on radar of exactly what this storm is doing.
I'm glad that you asked that question because fellow meteorologists are also able to reach out to the National Weather Service, and they asked that same question. We are still waiting for that answer, but of course seeing that trend of that storm that is pushing out ahead of that tornado warning, and there's the answer that we've been looking for. That tornado warning has been canceled, and that was 15 minutes earlier than what we were expecting. So if you are in Sandusky County, Erie County, Huron County, and also into Seneca County, you do still have that severe thunderstorm warning, however, so do not let your guard down. Just because we have that tornado warning that has been canceled, and it doesn't look like that line is going to be warned on as far as tornadoes or rotation, because that's become very weak and broad from what we're watching. We do still have that severe thunderstorm warning because we do have those winds along with it. So the National Weather Service, of course, has kind of said their piece as far as that tornado warning as we watch this move through and even knocking on the door to Norwalk right now. Those straight line winds you can see right there along that bow echo going to be something that we are watching. This bow just kind of pushes all that air, and though that the air is not rotating like a tornado, those strong winds at 60, 65 miles per hour, those are going to be ones that cause some damage. And Ryan, we've seen plenty of photos, but I think we're happy to see that that warning has now been canceled.
We are as well, and we're going to go ahead and head back to our regularly scheduled programming now that all tornado warnings have expired across the area. Myself, meteorologist Diane Phillips, who's been joining you live since 5 o'clock as these storms started in Putnam County, raced through Findlay, and now have exited off to the east. Of course, we still have this line of strong winds, but that is very quickly going to be moving to the east. Meteorologist Matt Willoughby is also in the WTOL 11 Weather Center, has been through this entire event, sending you updates to your phone through the WTOL 11 weather app, and he will continue to do that over the course of the next bit until we know for sure that we are done with the threat for strong or severe weather. We will be here all evening. Good news is Toledo in the clear, the vast majority of the area in the clear. Join us tonight as our news team goes out and sees the damage left by these storms.